are you going to be keeping tabs on this season?
I guess naturally Folarin Balogun, right? For me, we saw the levels that he was able to produce with the U.S. men's national team in this World Cup, and it's his movement, his goal scoring, just being clinical, but the technique that he possesses. So finally, it all clicked, and the team understood his tendencies and vice versa. So it'll be interesting to see, because when you perform at the World Cup in the way that he did, you think that warrants a bigger move. And for Monaco, who are playing in the Champions League, it's a top club. There aren't too many moves that you can make that would be worth it, unless we're talking about we're talking about the top 20, 25 clubs in world football, right? And so, I've been looking at a number of places that would make sense for him if he were to move. But I would say patience. There's no need to, force a move or to end up in a place that doesn't make sense. Do you want to play Europa Conference League? No. And so I think that's probably one of the main factors when you're looking at Monaco. I got to be playing Champions League football. I was playing in a World Cup, and I was one of the players that I think took the world by storm. But I need to level up in terms of getting back to playing in the Champions League.
All right, so the 25-year-old Balogun's 25, 19 goals in 45 matches in all competitions last year. I think his most impressive were the ones he scored against PSG. Obviously, we could argue the best club team in the world. So the two options that we're hearing the most, Big Tones, for Balogun, we'll get into his transfer kind of news right now, is Newcastle, who just lost their coach, Eddie Howe. They lost a whole bunch of players.
Not a great spot. No.
Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, Anthony Gordon. They've signed $140 million worth of players, but 4 of those 5 signings are age 20 or under. So I don't know if that's the best situation for him in particular. They got a coach now who's coming in who's a Red Bull graduate, right? So he likes to play a certain style. I actually think Tottenham would be a better fit under Roberto De Zerbi, but I don't know if that's going to happen as well. They're talking about, reportedly, air quotes here for people not listening, $60 million. I think that could be a lot for Tottenham to want to pay for him. But where do you think would be a good fit for him? Tottenham for sure. I just think he'll get more of the ball, see more of it, and I think De Zerbi's got a really nice job of organizing and setting up his teams to have success. So I think you just get more service ultimately.
I have a good spot in my mind now, but I'll keep it.
Okay, Jones, go ahead.
Tottenham's been one that we've spoken about. The other one we spoke about early on was Juventus too, the way he fit there. But of course, you got to get back in the Champions League. I would say Tottenham. Newcastle doesn't sound like the place for him right now. You want to go somewhere he's going to get some service. He's going to be in an attacking side. I think De Zerbi would love having him there. And I just think if it is Newcastle, there's still an allure to the Premier League, right? There's no denying that. The money, playing in the Premier League, Newcastle potentially being part of something with some young players, as you said, Jimmy, coming in, that you can be part of growing something like a new cycle there. Like there's got to be an allure to that too, even though it doesn't seem like the best fit. But I'd be interested in Charlie's team that he wants to talk about. But Tottenham would be, especially if that Richarlison, if all of that works out where he leaves. I haven't even followed that the last week, but that seems to be a logical spot.
All right.
Let me get after this. All right. So I was doing a deep dive across Europe's top 5 leagues, and you're looking at the Champions League clubs because clearly that's where you want to play if you reach a certain level. So for Folarin Balogun, one club that comes to mind that I think would be a good fit is Aston Villa. And Aston Villa, because Unai Emery plays in the way that Ollie Watkins can really go cold for a while and sometimes needs to come off the bench, whether it's motivation, whether it's he just loses form. But there tends to be a need for a striker there because Tammy Abraham was brought in and didn't give you anything. We saw what John Duran did a couple of seasons ago at Villa and what he did with his time. I feel like now that they're playing in Champions League, they just signed Johan Manzambi, who's a fantastic player. I absolutely loved everything about that Swiss midfielder, that there could be a great option for him. Now, because we've heard about Mikatadze at Villarreal potentially going to Barcelona or just rumored to be moving, Villarreal could be a great spot for him as well. I think La Liga would suit him extremely well. So a top club in the La Liga and playing in Champions League like Villarreal, I think that could be a great spot for him. By the way, he'd be playing with his teammate Freeman there. Roma, Daniel Milan did a fantastic job. I don't think Daniel Milan is a straight striker. So given the fact that, that's another spot that you're playing in Champions League, Gasparini, it could be a good spot for him as well. So those were the clubs that I was thinking about because he's not going to Bayern, Barca, Inter, Real, PSG, Arsenal, Dortmund, City, United, Atletico Madrid, Napoli, Liverpool. So if you're looking at, the top league champions, clubs that finished second, he's not going to any of those. I feel like amongst those clubs, that's probably what would turn his head if he were leaving Monaco.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. And I feel like there's enough time here, still, almost 2 weeks or a little less than 2 weeks in this transfer window where if something doesn't happen or if a certain domino falls, Ollie Watkins actually, just use Aston Villa as an example, getting really strong interest from Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia. So I feel like if you're Unai Emery and you're like, oh, okay, well, I can get Balogun for the money we'll probably get from Saudi Arabia, then maybe
you probably could sell Ollie Watkins for 70, 80 to Saudi Arabia because remember there's a inflated price whenever you're dealing with Saudi Arabia because you know how much money they carry. So you could probably make a profit making that type of sale of an Ollie Watkins and securing a Folarin Balogun.
Big Tones, is there anybody you'd like to see move of our players? Antonee Robinson you mentioned, because where Fulham's at, feel like somewhat in transition. I don't know how much thriving they're going to do this year. I feel like they're going to be doing more surviving than thriving. Would you like to see Jedi make a move, even though he's getting close to 30? Is Tyler Adams maybe making a move? There was a little bit of smoke around him going to Newcastle with them selling Bruno Guimaraes to Arsenal and Sandro Tonali going to Tottenham. Maybe there's room there. I don't know if you'd like to go play there because that looks like it's going to be a project as well. We already talked Balogun a little bit, potentially coming. Chris Richards, now with LaCroix going to Chelsea, is going to put a little bit more onus on him to be the guy for Crystal Palace. What are your thoughts on potentially guys making moves?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've been talking about Antonee Robinson every year about is he going to Liverpool? Is he going to Manchester United? At his age right now, if he's going to make a move, I would think he's the guy that needs the move the most. Tyler Adams is in a good spot, although if he can get to one of the bigger clubs and they believe in him and he's playing all the time, I could understand that move. Chris Richards, you said, is in a good spot. So I would, if I had to pick one, it would be Antonee Robinson to make a move and see him finally get to a place where he's at one of the bigger clubs. And it's been United and Newcastle have been the rumors for him. And either of those, I think, would be certainly an upgrade. I know the Newcastle situation is not great right now, but it's still Newcastle, still a big club. Recently have put a trophy in the cabinet over the last 2 seasons, or 3 seasons now, I guess. So yeah, I mean he would be the guy. I think the other ones are okay. Aronson, I think, is in a decent spot. They may get rid of Pirro as well, the center forward, right? It sounds like he might go. Mm-hmm. So they're still going to need players in the attack. Not that he's going to be a like for like, but they can't get rid of all your attacking players, right? So yeah, Robinson for me.
Yeah, Chuck, you with Big Tones on Jedi? When I look at Manchester United right now, they got Luke Shaw, who's kind of a walking injury, and then you have Dorgu, who pretty much plays more as a winger than he does as an outside back. I think he'd be a nice fit there, especially, and he got experience. I know Andy Robertson, another experienced defender in the Premier League, left Liverpool and joined Tottenham, and he's going to help solidify that. Maybe not as an out-and-out starter every week, but someone you can trust. And if you're playing in multiple competitions, that goes a long way.
I'm all the way with Tones. I think Antonee Robinson has earned a move outside of Fulham to an improved club, a club that's competing in Champions League. I think he's ready for that, especially if you have maybe 2 options, so you can rest him every now and then because of how much miles he puts in those legs per game. So I think that's something I'm looking forward to the end of the season, hoping that he gets a move, secures a move, because he absolutely has earned it. When he's healthy, man, he's up there amongst the best left backs in the world.
Mark McKenzie going to be leaving Toulouse and being reported that he's leaving Toulouse. Now, I guess there was a middle ground there, but they didn't want to lose him right away. So he's going to go in January to the Philadelphia Union. 27 years old, 30 caps for the U.S. men's national team, started his career at the Philadelphia Union, coming back, and he's going to get DP money. So that's going to be one of the rare center backs getting DP money. Shout out Center Back Union. I absolutely love that. Tones, do you like this move?
Has there ever been a DP
Walker
center?
Zimmerman. I think that Omar Gonzalez was a DP for a little bit. Had a little time there as a DP center back. I feel like Toronto FC way back when they made some signings that they shouldn't have had a center back that was a DP as well. I don't know if Miles Robinson's a DP. Have. Yeah, that's Toronto FC's transfer. Signing guys they shouldn't have. Outside of Sebastian Jovinko, what a signing. That guy was absolutely amazing. Okay, so there's two questions to this. Mark McKenzie, do you like the move for him personally? And then how do you think it impacts Philadelphia Union?
Well, it impacts the Union. I'll start there for sure. In the back, right? They bring in a World Cup veteran, a guy that's been in Europe for a couple of years. It's certainly going to make them better. A guy that understands the Union, knows them as good as anybody. Does it the Mark McKenzie thing? Like, is it a good move? I can't tell you what a good move for Mark McKenzie is or not. I know the idea is going to be, why doesn't Mark McKenzie stay in Europe and go to another club or continue to play and play at the highest level? And sometimes in the end, I hope Mark McKenzie, if he makes this move, I hope Mark McKenzie's the highest paid player ever. I don't know what the Union figures are. I know they're a lower paying team. I hope what's the term, Chuck? I hope he gets his bag. Right. That's I hope he makes his money. Right. And I hope that he gets whatever it is that he's looking for in this thing. And I know it's not going to look great to some people. I don't think it's a terrible move. It's probably going to settle him a little bit. Maybe his family is going to be a little bit more settled. He's back in America. He's in front of Pochettino week in and week out. Like there's positives to it, but I know there's going to be, I don't know, the haters, if you will, right? They're going to say, I can't believe he's coming back. But all those people that say that, when you put that money in front of them, Chuck, and you say, would you make this move? All them haters would make the same move.
No doubt. So it's a fantastic move from the Union. You don't in MLS, think about it. How often do you get young, experienced, top-level center backs in the league? Not often. It's a league that goes after the attacking talent, not the defensive talent. Usually the defensive talent has a ways to go in terms of, if we're talking about competing around the world globally as a league for top defenders. So, part of me is like, man, I feel like Mark McKenzie could take another step, and push himself. But I will never fault anyone when the bag is thrown at you and you can go home and you got a family. For me, he's had an incredible career thus far. He got to play in a World Cup. He's got to play in Europe. It's an incredible story. I mean, I remember Mark McKenzie as a young kid training with us and getting his first professional contract out of Wake Forest, and same thing with Austin Trusty. These guys, Brandon Aronson, they just started training with the first team. They signed with the Union and off they went. So I'll be the first one to stand up and clap and be proud of what they've been able to accomplish. And by the way, he's only 27 years old. So he's coming back to win, and he wants to bring an MLS Cup to Philadelphia.
Yeah, they also signed recently Kai Wagner, who left and then now came back. He's on DP money as well. Very rare to see a team have two defensive DPs
in that back line. Jimmy, things are looking good, man. You got to make a comeback.
I got to make a comeback for sure. Let me start lacing them up and start stretching right now. I think what's interesting too, from a development standpoint, because Philadelphia Union at this point has been known as kind of develop them young and sell them on. But they have an 18-year-old center back who plays for the U.S. national team, Neil Pierre, who I think could learn a ton from having Kai Wagner on one side of him and Mark McKenzie on the other. And
how long is he going to be there, man?
No. Well, especially with Lucas Harrington making a big move to Hull City. It's going to be interesting to see how long we can keep all of our top young center backs. But Neil Pierre is going to be a player to watch for sure, and kind of curious where his career goes. But yeah, moves for days here for the Philadelphia Union.